Welcome to Money Matters, a program designed to equip you with the knowledge and tools to make informed financial decisions. I'm your host, Faith Katai. As the saying goes, money does not buy you happiness, but lack of money certainly buys you misery. On today's program, we are focusing on one of the most important foundations of financial security, the emergency fund. And my guest in the studio is Mercy Banda, a financial literacy educator. To fill us in, Mercy, welcome to Money Matters.
Thank you so much for having me here.
Okay, first things first. Let's first start by understanding what an emergency fund is.
Okay, so an emergency fund is just money set aside for emergencies only. Yes, so we've got different emergencies, Maybe you lose a job, you need to have money that can back you up while you're waiting for another job. You see, you have maybe a broken thing on the car, or you need a repair, you need money that you've set aside for that emergency. Look at it like a seat belt. When you enter a car, you want to put on a seat belt because you are thinking, I might have an accident and that seat belt may protect me. That's just like an emergency fund. It will help you or protect you when you're in need, especially those emergencies and things, uncertainties, So it's basically money put aside for emergencies, things that you've not planned for. Yes.
Okay, so why is it so important for one to have this emergency fund?
Okay, so an emergency fund, it will give you a peace of mind. You see, just like a seat belt. You are thinking if someone hits you behind, if you're not in a seat belt, you can fly around, you see. Or anything happens, you are thinking a seat belt is going to help me, protect me from going all over. So just like an emergency fund, it will give you a peace of mind. You know that if I have any problem that I didn't expect, at least have a cushion. It may not clear all your emergencies, but at least you have something. For example, you are sick, you see, and we have NEMA, but there are times that NEMA will not pay for certain diseases or maybe certain medications, and you don't have money. I always say that some people have died not because it's their time to die, but they've died because they didn't have money. You see, there are some illnesses that need a lot of money. So if you have an emergency fund, it's going to help you to cater for those illnesses. Sometimes you have funerals. Funerals don't know. You don't know when you die. You don't need to have a patient. Sometimes accidents happen. A member of your family dies. But if you have an emergency fund set aside, you have where to start from. Unlike waiting for people to come, we need to call this one and that one for us to start the process. But if you have an emergency fund, it's going to help you. You see, sometimes loss of income or employment or a business goes down, markets get gutted at times, or theft. You see, you go at the office. It happened to me 5 years ago. I went to the office as usual, you see, and within 5 hours, like 50% of the employees lost their job. We lost our jobs. We didn't expect it. So imagine you were thinking, I need to do this over the month end. Maybe you've got loans, you need to settle those loans. But it has happened abruptly. No one planned for it, but it happens. So when you have a cushion, you have money set aside, it's going to help you to cater for those things like the basic needs while you are waiting for the next employment. Yes.
Great. So how different is an emergency fund from regular savings?
Okay, so for the regular savings, it's a planned savings, you see. So you know that especially December is coming, people spend a lot of money. January also comes. You need to pay school fees. So those things, we know them. You want to go for a holiday, you plan for it. You see, that's a regular saving. So it's different from the emergency fund because the planned savings, you know it. You want to buy a car, you save. You know that I need to save for this. But for the emergency fund, it's strictly for emergencies. You don't plan for them. They just happen. So you need to be wise. Put aside that money so that in case an emergency comes, you have something. Yes.
Awesome. As a financial literacy educator, how many months should one actually keep saving for the the emergency fund?
Okay. So basically, you need to have at least 3 months of your monthly expenses. You see, so if your monthly expenses, for example, 5,000, at least a minimum of 15,000. You see, put aside so that in case of any eventualities, you have something to back you up. So it can go up to 6 months, 12 months, yes. But the minimum is 3 months. At least have 3 months of your monthly expenses, yes.
Okay. Do you think keeping an emergency fund would, in a separate account, is a good idea? Or you should just put everything, even in the savings?
No, putting in the same account, it's tempting, you see. An emergency fund, you need to hide it away from your eyes, you see, so that you don't get tempted to dip into it. You see, an emergency fund is strictly for emergencies, not for planned expenses. So make sure you find another account where you can put that money, but it should be easily accessible, so that in case you have an emergency in the night, you are able to go and withdraw, so that it helps you. At least maybe the minimum that you can say to access, maybe in 24 hours, at least. But it shouldn't be somewhere where you fix it. No, it has to be accessible, easily accessed at any time when you have a need. Yes.
Okay, so how's been your experience with emergency fund? How is it going so far in your personal life?
It really helps. Like I've told you, the time I lost my job, you know, for me, it wasn't a big issue. Of course, I had lost a job of 9 years where I worked for 9 years for that company, but just thinking of where to start from. But at least I already had something, you see, and I started thinking, what will I do with this money that I have? Of course, I already had some businesses that I was doing, but I was thinking maybe I expand a bit or I do something. But it also helps me because I was already in school the time I was stopping work. So it also helped me with my school. I finished my school because of the same money that I had, the emergency fund. So it helped. Instead of me staying back and saying, since I'm not working anymore, so I'm stopping my school. But I continued because I had a cushion. You see, so it's very important. It has helped me. And it's something that I would advise anyone to have. It's important, very important, yes.
Wonderful. We now go on a short break. Stay tuned. Welcome back. You are watching Money Matters. My guest today is Mercy Banda, a financial literacy educator, and we are discussing one of the most important topics in personal finance, the emergency fund. Mercy, back to our interview. I would like you to explain what kind of expenses should an emergency fund cover?
Okay, so we come across different emergencies, you see. We have loss of work. Maybe your business is not doing fine. Yes, or people steal your things. So you still need to have something where you can fall back on. Like I said, medical emergencies, you need something to help you in case you have an illness that cannot be covered by insurance schemes or the government. Maybe you have a problem at home where the sewer system is not working very well, you know. At least you have something, you not wait for month end to come for you to sort out that issue. You have a plumbing problem, it's urgency, you know. You cannot be at home where things are not working very well. So you need an emergency fund to help you. All those emergencies or those issues that you don't plan for, but you know that they exist, but you don't plan for them. You don't know when they'll happen. So those are expenses that you need to cater for emergencies. It's not for shopping, not for buying shoes, of course. Just because there's a sale at a mall, you want to get the money from the emergency fund and say, oh, you place it, or it's an emergency since the sale has just come. That's not an emergency. So we need to draw the line between the emergency and the regular savings. Yes.
Awesome. Okay, so what comes with the risk of not having an emergency fund personally?
Okay, so if you don't have an emergency fund, first you start to stress financially. Every time you have a simple emergency, it's a disaster for you. You see, what do? You run to Kalova. You see, because you are desperate. You see, you are desperate in need of money and you don't have a cushion. You are waiting for month end and today is 11th or it's 15th. You are waiting for 30th to come and the emergency is today. So what are you going to do? You will rush to go and borrow money and you won't even mind like the interest. You won't make a good decision because you are under stress. So you can even borrow at 50%, 60%, you see, and not even doing the calculations if I'm going to manage or not. And this is how a lot of people find themselves in these troubles of Kalova. You see, it also, if you don't put an emergency fund, you have stress, financial stress anyhow, you see, where you don't know what to do. You don't make good decisions. You end up selling maybe your assets at a cheaper price. You see, for example, you find someone, because you have an emergency, you're selling your house, which may cost 500, but you end up selling it at 200 because you are in need. And afterwards, that's when you start to think, oh my God, I've lost my money because my house is not worth 200, you see. So lack of an emergency fund will make you to make haste decisions that you end up regretting. You see, you end up selling things, even items in the house, you see, which is not a very good thing. But if you have an emergency fund, at least you have a cushion. It will also help you to do other things that come your way, you see. So it's important that we all have an emergency fund for that.
Awesome. One would ask if their monthly salary expenses are 10,000, how much should they aim to save for the next 3 months for an emergency fund?
Okay, so we say the basic is 3 months, the minimum. 3 months of your monthly expenses. So for someone who has an expense of 10,000 monthly, of course they need to save a minimum of 30,000. You see, if their business or their job is not that stable, at least they save up to 60,000, which is 6 months. Yes.
Okay. Someone who has irregular income, what would you say to them? They really want to have an emergency fund, but they have irregular income.
Okay, so when you have an irregular income, you still have an income. So what to do is save when the money comes and utilize those moments or the months that you're at the peak when business is booming or it's doing fine. Save a lot. And if you have an irregular income, you really need to have a bigger cushion compared to those who've got regular incomes like a salary. But mostly those who do not have regular income like business people, they know when the businesses are okay. So you just have to start saving and at least make it a bigger cushion. Start from the smallest that you can. What is important is a habit. So don't wait that I should have a regular income or I should have enough. No, just start from where you are. When the money comes, save. Yes, so every time you have money, pay yourself first. Remove even a percentage and save in your account. It's those small monies that compounds at the end of the time. Yes.
Wonderful. As a financial literacy educator, would you advise couples to have a shared emergency fund, or they should just have each one of them an individual emergency fund?
Okay. It's important to have both. You know, as a couple, we have emergencies as a couple, as a family, you see. So it's important to have an emergency fund for the family. Then as an individual, you can also have your own emergency fund. You see, we don't know what tomorrow holds. It's important that you have your own emergency fund set aside. So both of them, yes.
Okay. What small steps can someone take as to establishing or come up with an emergency fund? Are there things that one needs to put in place?
Okay, so first you need to understand your income, know how much you get, you see. Then write down your expenses. You need to know how much you use for the month. That will be your guide for you to set up an emergency fund. Yes. Then start small if you cannot get a lump sum. You don't need to have the whole 30,000 if you don't have it. You see, but you can start from where you are. Even if it's 10 kwacha, it's 100 kwacha, it's 50 kwacha, it's a habit that will start to helping you to multiply that money. Because even when you have a lot of money, if you don't have that habit or behavior to set aside money, it will be difficult for you even when you have a lot of money. So start to teach yourself to save with small amounts that you can. And try to reduce on unnecessary expenses because you are going to have more money to save, disposable income. You see, because I've heard a lot of people who say, me, I cannot save because I don't have a lot of money. Please, you don't need to have a lot of money to save. You don't need a bigger salary to save. No. Start from what you have. It is a habit and the consistency. You know, 20 quarters a day will compound into a lot of money by the end of the year. It is over 7,000. 20 kwacha a day, just 20 kwacha. So a 20 kwacha, you look at it and say, no, it's nothing. But when you multiply it every day, it's over 7,000, you see. So you start from there. So tell yourself, how much am I supposed to save, to have in my emergency fund? So you look at your 10,000 every month, meaning it's 30,000. So how am I going to raise this 30,000, and how am I going to? It should be specific, and it should be something that is attainable. You see, so just start. 10 kwacha, 5 kwacha, you put just like that. You find by the end of the time you have a lot. Yes.
Do you think discipline is also important
Very
when setting
much.
up an emergency fund?
Very much. When it comes to financial matters, the most important thing is discipline. Discipline is very much important because when you're not disciplined, even when you have a bigger salary, for you just want it to finish shipway. When you have money, it's like it's insulting you. Take me here, take me. You have no good relationship with money. When it comes in your hands, you want it to finish. By the 15th, you don't have any money. But you had a lot of money. You know, I had a lot of experiences when I was working for a certain company. I had my boss who used to get a lot of money, but by 10th, he should come back to you to ask for money. Nikongole seko ndarama, you are my last hope. And I'm wondering, where do you take the money? Like this time it's already gone. Why? It's a habit that we need to change the mindset. We need to change the mindset. Saving is all about discipline. It's not about how much you get. Because I've seen a lot of people that were doing fine, they were getting a lot of money. But when you see them, even the way they retire miserably, which is not a very good thing. Why? It's because of not knowing how to deal with your money. Having a bad relationship with money, where when it comes, you don't want it to be with you. You just want it to go. You see, you buy things that are necessary, you want to spend, you want to give out. Anyhow, giving has got no problem, but it has to be budgeted for. You see, so if you want financial freedom, you need to be disciplined. You need to learn. You need to know which money is for what and which money is for what. And that is going to help you. Yeah.
Great. As we wrap up the program, what's the most important takeaways you want viewers to remember this week about emergency fund?
Okay, so the first thing that you need to do is to start today. You see, we've got a lot of platforms where you can save your money. Thank God for mobile money operators. They've given us even the pockets where you can lock your money. So it's easy for you to lock your money while you are making that emergency fund. You can start locking that money. All the 3 mobile operators, they have that pocket. So every money that comes into your mobile money, you can start putting aside. So start small. You don't need to wait for a bigger income. So start from where you are. It is a habit that is important. And every household should have an emergency fund. It will help us when we are in need, desperate need, to deal with other things. Imagine power finishes abruptly. Zesco units are finished. You need to start calling people to buy Zesco units. My units, they are done. No, it's not supposed to be like that. This is why you need to have an emergency fund. Every household should have an emergency fund. Even students, even pupils, they should have an emergency fund. Saving should start from while we are young. And it will be easy to grow up with that habit. So everyone needs a savings account, an emergency fund, so that when unforeseen circumstances come, you are able to help. You know, people will always help you when you have something, you see. But where you say, I completely have nothing, it's difficult. So when you have a need and you want others to help you, you need to have something. They'll ask you, how much do you have? Okay, I have this much, but I'm short of this. It's easy to help people like that. So at least have something, even if it cannot cover all your emergencies, but start something. So that's my message to all the viewers out there.
Great. Mrs., thank you so much for coming through to Money Matters. We really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure.
Viewers, there you have it. We have heard an emergency fund is more than just savings. It's a safety net that protects us from life's unexpected challenges. Whether you are managing school fees, irregular income, or planning for retirement, the key is to start small, stay consistent, and avoid dipping into your fund unnecessary. That's all we had for you on Money Matters. My name is Faith Katai. Goodbye.